Did your mother do anything, like talk to you about the media thing, the attention, or she just sort of hoped that all the lessons that she's been giving you anyway, you got them and you will run with them? Because
So
obviously mothers give lessons generally.
they do. So one thing that my mom like instilled in me was
Yeah.
from a very young age, she taught me to be humble. Um,
Nice.
she was like, I don't care how smart you think you are.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money you will make in the future, but
Yeah.
always be humble as a person. Like, it doesn't
Yes.
matter who you're talking to. It doesn't matter where you are, whether I'm there or not. Be
Yeah.
humble. That was like
Yeah.
one lesson she instilled in me. And also the other thing, it was just the importance of education. My
Yes.
mom would literally do anything for me to get that extra textbook that will make me get the 100%. It doesn't matter if it's her last money, but she would make sure. And so at the time when like they announced the results, we went on for like weeks without like literally sitting down by ourselves because there were a lot of people coming over to our house,
Of
you
course,
know,
but
and
that's
it's
how we
like,
roll in the village. That's how we roll in. In the village, we roll like that.
yes,
You get on TV because of an achievement. We come to your home to say we are happy with you. You made us
yes.
proud, and so on and so forth. So you could never be on your own.
We could never be. I remember there was a time where like literally as some people are leaving, other people are coming. Like
Yeah, you.
my days were like that. I remember the first few days were like that. If I'm not talking to people like physically, I'm on the phone. I have an
Oh,
interview with the radio station. I
oh
have an
wow.
interview with the newspaper. So yeah, around that time we didn't have enough time to actually like sit down and say, now you're famous.
And then
We
what did you
didn't
say?
have
Now
that.
you're famous. So what's
Now you're
next?
famous. You know, we didn't have that conversation. We didn't have time to say, oh, now you're famous. Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
But then I remember, I feel like after 2 weeks or so, when things have settled down,
Yeah.
she just like took me to a room and she was like, I'm so proud of you. I knew you would do well. I saw you working hard and pouring your heart out, and throughout the year you were doing great. So I
Yeah.
knew you would do well. And which is so funny because he organized a surprise party for me before results came out.
Is
It
it
was like she
before?
already knew. I was panicking. I'm like, what if it doesn't go well? She already had, you know, the whole picture. She planned everything. And I was just like, what? You had so much confidence and faith in me. She was like, yeah,
And
the
then what
same
was the
way.
surprise party about? What
So
did she
it
say the
was
surprise party is about?
so it was just that my family and my teachers coming together to celebrate my results.
Also, she organized the surprise party before the results came out in
Yes.
anticipation that your results are going to be popping.
Yes, and then I did ask her like, what if things didn't go well? She was like, regardless whether because I ended up becoming the top student of the province. She was like, whether you were top student of the province or not, I was still going to celebrate you because
Uh,
you worked so hard. So to her, the TV and the top student of the province, those were just like additions. She was like, I was going to celebrate you regardless, and
lesson, lessons
yeah.
for parents. So which means she's been interested, looking, and following what you're doing.
Yes.
But talking about your mom, I mean, what does your mother do, Fulu?
So my mom is a nurse. She's
Okay.
also one of the women that inspire me, you included, and her. Um,
Of
because
course, I'm deputy. I mean, really, I'm deputy. So
oh
after your mom.
yes, the deputy mother, yes. So she's a nurse, but I think
Okay.
for me, what I really learned from her was that when she started out, she was just like a random staff nurse earning,
Wow.
when you're staff nurse, you earn less than 8,000 rands a month.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I remember this one time we were sitting down, just having like a normal conversation, and she said to me, you know what, I want to go back to school. I know I messed up my life. I had kids before, going to varsity and all of that, but I feel I want to go back to school and get a degree. I won't die without a degree. That was my mom.
Wow.
And 2008, when my sister went to first year, she decided to enroll for a diploma first. So when I went to UCT, my mom enrolled for her degree with UNISA.
Wow.
And I was like, this woman is goals. And she was getting distinctions over 35, and she was still getting distinctions. That was also pressure to be like, why are you old and still getting distinctions?
You're not following your ages. You're telling us over 35 is old. You're telling us. You're telling us. So what about us over 50s? Come on, Fulu, come on. Let's slow down on that one.
Okay. Let's slow down on that.
So clearly your mother is also, I mean, she's also a focused, hardworking woman. So you grew up with a mother like that. How many siblings do you have?
I have 2. So my older sister and I.
Oh, it's just the 2 of you? Okay.
Yes.
And did your mother raise you as a single parent, or do you have a dad as well?
So it's kind of like she raised us as a single parent because we don't stay with our dad.
Okay, all right.
So she was the one responsible for like making sure that we are okay and things are going well with us.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Big ups to all the women who raise their children in that way. That's amazing. Now, let's get to the next step. I mean, you get this attention not only on TV and newspapers and radio, but in the village. Your home is crowded with people, everyone coming to congratulate you, and so on. You have applied to go to university. Oh, but first, before we get to that, I mean, how many iPads and iPhones did you get, and what did you do with that?
Oh, I remember I had a lot of phones. I had a lot of laptops. I think around 7, 8 laptops.
Wow.
Yeah.
7 or 8 laptops. Every company saying there's a laptop when you go into university.
Yeah, they just give you those laptops and then they give you phones. I remember with tablets, I had around 3 of them, and I had
3 tablets, 7 laptops, and then phones.
And a phone. We had 1. I remember I had 1 phone. Yeah, I just had 1 small phone. Yeah. So you get all of that.
You had to choose which is the laptop that I'm going to go to. How did you choose? Did you have someone looking at the specifications, or did you know what you're looking for?
So I had a cousin who was like, okay, so I called my cousin. I'm like, I'm clueless. Can you help me? So they were like, oh, okay, I think this is the best one considering that you're going to university and all of that. And then I sold the other ones.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, this is amazing. This is the behind the scenes things that people don't see. We see you going on screen. We don't see, of course, we hear you on radio, so we are aware that you sought after for interviews, but we don't see the corporates that are flooding with you. Are you flooded also with scholarships when you get announced like that?
Yeah, you do. Actually, I was receiving a lot of calls at the time. So I had a couple of companies, I don't know if I can drop names, but a couple of companies calling me and they're like, hey, we know you did exceptionally well. We're offering a scholarship. And like some universities will also call you. I remember UP called me and they were like, we're even prepared to give you a scholarship. You know, everything, it's sorted. Yeah. But then my heart was just in Cape Town. So I was like,
exactly. Now, let's be clear. If you are going to get top results, you're going to get all the VCs calling you. So what you're saying to us is UP called you. You had an offer from UP. You had an offer from UCT. Yes. And you still decided, I'm going to Cape Town. I'm not going to UP.
Yes.
Why did you decide that? What made you choose? Why was your heart set on Cape Town? Was it set on the city, or was it about the university? Or was it just about getting out of the transit?
Limpopo.
Pretoria is too close to Limpopo. You wanted to go far away from there.
Far away from Limpopo. I think that was another thing. Going far away was also a factor, but it wasn't like a major factor. The deciding factor was actuarial science and how it started at UCT. So I was like, if there are people who have had experience at this, it's probably UCT people. And of course, #1 university. Why not go to Cape Town? Have that, you know, I'm a beautiful brand. Why not associate myself with another beautiful brand? And then,
but how did you know this information? Did you read about where actuarial science started, how universities, whatever? Did you read it? Did you Google it? How did you know?
Oh, okay. So when I first heard about actuarial science, I was in grade 9, and my sister was in university at the time. So she had a friend, she was at Wits, so she had a friend at Wits who was doing actuarial science. And so when my maths teacher told me about actuarial science, I called her. I was like, hey, there's this thing called actuarial science. My teacher says I might be good at it. So what is it about? So she gathered all the information and then she brought it to me. And then I also talked to her friend who was doing actuarial science at the time. So I got all the information. I was like, oh, okay. But then the guy, I feel like the person who told me about actuarial science kind of like lied to me. They sold it from a maths perspective, and they didn't tell me about all these other things. They were like, it's all about the maths. How much are you getting for maths? I was like, I'm getting 100% for maths. Then they're like, you good. You can do this. So
I want us to get to that point, because now that you've walked the journey, I want to talk about the journey to get there. But I guess the lesson that's coming out of here, Fulu, that you're teaching us is that even the grade 9 learners who are out there, and they hear about things, because when you are smart, you are told many things. You can do this, you can do that, but you don't know anything about it. Do your work. Ask people, find out, know about what this area is. And that's what you did whilst in grade 9. And that helped you make a decision that you want to go to actuarial science, and also that you want to go to UCT. Right?
Yes.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so I was saying, I appreciate like that phone call with that person, because it exposed me to a lot of things, to say, okay, this is what actuarial science is all about. These are the universities that offer actuarial science. This is the type of a typical student who will excel in actuarial science. Though I'm like, maybe, but it's fine.
We must talk about it. We are going to talk about it. So here's to you, everyone who's watching. If you have a daughter, son, whatever, who wants to do actuarial science, or who you think must do actuarial science, call them in. Let them come and sit, because at around 10 to, I'm going to change gears so that Fulu talks to us a little bit about that. Because I think it's one thing, once you have walked the journey, to tell people what's the real thing about this, because children choose this and they don't know. By the way, Fulu completed a degree at the end of 2019. So you spend the whole of 2020, she's been working. She's been working at Old Mutual. But Fulu, tell us, so which scholarship did you end up taking? Because obviously you had offers. So which one did you end up taking? We're not going to talk about the others who offered you. Man, it's like, who shelled you and who did you say yes to? We just want to know who you said yes to.
So I ended up saying, okay, this was the crazy thing about me and scholarships. I got my scholarship before writing my final exams. I had already signed the contract.
You had already signed?
Yeah.
Wow. Because you were scared that you won't get it after results, or what?
No, so I feel they saw my potential. This is, in retrospect, this is what I think happened. I think they saw my potential, and they were like, if we don't sign this person as soon as possible, they're going to be poached by someone else. So they literally sent me the contract, and funny enough, that was like the first interview that I did. They sent me the contract. They were like, you know what, we are taking you. And I'm like,
wow,
what the
which company was that? Which company?
Old Mutual. It was Old Mutual.
Old Mutual like eyed you from grade 12 before you wrote exams, and they said you are. How did they know about you?
So I actually applied for the actuarial science bursaries. Yes. So the person I talked to told me about the different companies that offer bursaries as well. So going to Matric, I knew who to target with a bursary type of vibes, to say, okay, these are the people I'll apply to.
So you applied for a bursary at the beginning of grade 12 or in the middle of grade 12?
In the middle, yes.
Okay, parents, another lesson. You have a smart kid. Don't think they're going to get results and they will immediately get them bursaries. Lesson from Fulu, let them apply for bursaries very early, even as they get top results. I mean, you are super organized. Man, now, tell us, now, you come to UCT, first year, you're doing Bachelor of Business Science, Actuarial Science.
Yes.
And you're staying at Fula or at Tagwell? What are you staying?
I was at Fula. I'm a Fula girl. I was at Fula.
Okay.
Yes, I was at Fula. So yes, I get to UCT and it's orientation week. You're excited. You know, you saw UCT from that prospectus that they sent
Yeah.
you, and now you
Oh,
there.
let me just check. Let me just check as patron of the IKEs. Did you also become an IKE? Did you buy that membership? The IKEs membership? You didn't. Okay, you didn't. You didn't do that. Because many students during that week buy that. And it's a good thing. I'm a patron. You must
Yes.
get it.
No,
You
I
didn't.
didn't. I didn't fall into that.
Okay. You didn't join or you didn't join 50 societies thinking that you're gonna have fun at university.
No. So before the university orientation, Old Mutual organized an orientation for us. So they were warning us about all those things, like you don't just join any society. And they were also like, if you join 500, we won't
Yeah,
like
you don't
pay
have
for
time.
them.
Oh, so they knew they have to pay for them. They said we won't pay for them.
We won't pay for them. You were given like a limit to say you can't join, you can't exceed like more than 1,000 rands on society subscriptions. So yeah, definitely. So you get to UCT, it's orientation week, you're excited, you see the beautiful buildings, it's Cape Town, you know, you're just like, I'm here.
The mountain and
Finally.
the sea.
Yes.
The mountain and the sea like grabs you.
Exactly. You are there, you're like, this is heaven. I'm here, I've arrived. Guys, you understand? I'm here, I've arrived. And then
Yeah.
you are walking on campus and someone is asking you, are you first year? You're like, yeah, I'm first year. And then they're like, what are you studying? And you'll be like, I'm studying actuarial science. Then they look at you, they're like, Then they're like, what will you be studying next year?
Oh, really? So the assumption is next year you will not be in exile. You will have moved because people like you don't make it. Many people change after first year.
Yeah. After first year, many people change. So you're like,
Wow.
of course, I'm thinking, do you know who I am?
When they ask you, what will you be doing now? What will you be studying next year? You're thinking in your head, excuse me, I'll be here. It's the same thing.
Exactly. But then I'm saying that because I haven't attended any lecture. Just, disclaimer, haven't attended any lecture. I don't know how hectic my schedule will be. I'm just like, dude, I'm smart. I'll be here next year studying actuarial science, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I remember my very first week of lectures. Oh my word. I remember I had introduction to TATs, I had introduction to lectures, textbooks. They were already telling us about a maths test that you write. So UCT has this thing called Deacon test. So after a month into XI, you write a maths test to say, will you be able to cope with the level of the workload that is coming? Like, are you on that level, or you need to decant and extend your degree by a year? So you are there already first week, it's a hectic. You are thinking lectures and this and this. And then I asked my other friends from Reyes who are studying something else. I'm like, are you guys having a hectic, week as I am? They're like, no, fam, I only have 2 lectures this week. We're only gonna start on the 3rd week, like properly. My lecturers are telling me I need to buy textbooks, I need notes. We are starting like it's here. The very first time I walked into a MEM 1000 lecture, we actually got a proper lesson.
1000. Yes.
MEM 1K all the way. We got a proper lesson.
Those who don't know, MEM 1K is famous at UCT, is the Maths 1 course. It's not the only Maths 1 course, there's MUM 1010, but MEM 1K is lit.
Yeah. So I get there. We're already like taking notes. It's serious. Like we are having a lecture. Like that was my very first proper lecture at UCT, MEM 1000. And I'm there. I know maths. I love maths. I'm like, I got 98 for maths, so I was almost there. I can do this. And then now they start, writing stuff on the board. And I'm sitting there like, I am so confused.
You have
like,
no idea what they're talking about.
And then to make it worse, I'm sitting next to someone who knows what they're talking about.
That's someone who did ed maths. They did ed
Yes,
maths. You didn't do ed maths.
I did it.
Parents, young people, even if your daughter gets 7 distinctions, university is a little different.
Yeah.
Be kinder to them. They might not have done ed maths. It doesn't mean they're stupid.
Yeah.
And
so I'm sitting there. This guy knows everything. Like, I'm sitting next to this guy, and the lecturer is asking questions, and he's like, oh, he raises his hand. He's like, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's because of this and this and this and that. I'm like, oh my word,
wow.
I'm behind already. It's the first day of lectures. This guy knows everything. So after the lecture, I'm like, dude, you like a genius or something? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's our first lecture.
You grabbed him immediately. You didn't let him go. You asked him.
I asked him because I was curious. I was like, how come do you know all those things? This is our first lecture.
Yeah.
They didn't like give us any pre-readings to do. Yeah. So how can you possibly know what's going on? And that's when he told me, oh, I did this in high school. So this is kind of like revision for me. So I was like, what? Oh. Yeah.
You didn't even know that something like ed maths existed.
No. Exactly. I'm there with my, you know how in high school we have comparison between the mathematics and mathematical literacy, and people who do the real maths. You like, we know maths, we the maths people, the maths literacy people are not really. So
you don't know that there's another level at high school.
There's another level of maths.
Even at high school, there are other high school kids who are doing ed maths. You don't know.
Yeah. You don't know, and you get the shock of your life. Now you're like, why? How come I didn't know about this? This math would have put me in another level altogether. And as if that wasn't enough. I mean, I begged my confidence to do actuarial science because I thought I was good in maths. And then when I got there, I realized, wow, the maths that I have doesn't really give me that confidence to say I can actually do this, because now it's like I'm actually learning a different level of maths that I didn't know existed. And to make it worse, I go for my accounting lecture. Then they start talking debits, credits. I didn't do accounting in high school. You didn't do accounting? I didn't do economics in high school. I'm there like,
but let's be fair, Fulu. Let's be fair. At UCT, the commerce faculty has got an EDU. So you get into EDU and they separate you, students who did accounting in high school, those who didn't do accounting. So that so those who don't know, if you're sitting out there, you want to come to UCT to do either a BCom or Bachelor of Business Science, we consider the fact that if you didn't do accounting at Matric, things may be a little hectic. So we separate you so that you don't feel like you're drowning, and you get into the class, a separate class for accounting, and then you can get, otherwise you'll feel lost when other people are jumping as if when you are stupid.
So now it's like we're in this class, right? As you've mentioned, like we call them priors and non-priors. So I was a non-prior because I didn't do it. So I'm a non-prior. I'm there in that class, and the lecturer, her name was Jackie. She even wrote our textbook. So she wrote the textbook we were using, and she's there. She's like, debit, credit. I remember sitting there like, I just don't get it.
Wow.
I don't get the debits and the credits. And I'm sitting there. She'll be like, oh, are we debiting or crediting? I'm like, debit. Then she'll be like, no, we're crediting. Are we crediting or debit? I'm like, credit. She's like, debit. I'm like, I know.
But Fulu, did you survive the test that was deciding whether you're staying or not?
Oh yeah, so this is what happened. So after that session, the first class of maths, so the guy, I was like, okay, cool. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sit next to this guy so that if the lecturer is going too fast, I can always ask him. So I made it a point, like, I love sitting front row. Simply because I can't see things that are far, number one, and number two, you concentrate when you are like front row. So I'm there sitting next to that guy. So that's how I survived. Like, we would do things, and if I didn't understand, I would ask him. And so that sort of pushed me to work hard, because you're still having that spirit in you to say like, no, a guy can't beat me. That was always my motto in high school.
But that's also a smart thing to then see this guy knows what he's doing, rather than be jealous and say, oh, privilege, what. You
Yeah.
sit with him. You sit with
Yes.
him so that if you didn't get, you become friends, then you can get, and you say, but if he can get it, I can get it too.
Yes.
And because there's different attitudes. Some people see that and they say, no, but why does he know? Why doesn't I know? Hey,
Yeah.
me, what? So you got to be smart about this.
Yes, you have to be smart.
Mm.
Yeah, so literally I was practicing and I remember I got 87 for the test after a
Eight,
month.
seven.
Yeah, no, 89. I got 11 wrong. So I got 89.
Yeah.
Yeah, 89.8.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when other people were worrying, like, can I actually do this? You know, I was like, okay, I can do this. But now I know, like, at that point in time, I already know, like, there's no way I'm going to do this alone because I'm going to fail. If I do it alone,
Yeah.
I'm going to fail. So
Yeah.
now it was a matter of, okay, cool. When I'm struggling, I need to know my go-to people. And I saw earlier on, there was a lady that helped me out with accounting a lot because she was excelling in accounting, but she was a year ahead. Short
Okay.
towards yeah, so she literally gave
Nice.
me private tutoring sessions when I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't understand what's going on. If there's one thing I'm gonna fail first, it's accounting. But I never failed, so it was just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, cool, help me out. And she literally gave me a crash course on accounting, and
Fantastic.
that's how I survived accounting in first semester, first year.
But there's a lesson again. Young people who are out there, parents who are going to be talking to your young people. You never think you're too smart to
Yeah,
ask for help.
yeah,
So if you see other people, whether they're a year ahead of you or they're in your class, go to the people who know. Don't
yeah,
complain about why do they know when you don't know.
yeah. No, it doesn't help.
Not jealous, that doesn't help. Tlogela
Yeah.
jealousy, man.
Mm.
Just make them your friends so that
Yeah.
you can get to know what they know. So you learn from this other girl who wasn't in your class, who was ahead, but also there was a guy who was in your class who you
Mm.
and that's important. That's
Yeah.
humility right there. Humility
Yeah.
is not being quiet and not saying anything. It's knowing where to ask, and if you don't know, say I don't know, admitting that you don't know and getting help. So
Yes.
that's great. Yeah. Have you
Yes.
ever failed? Did you ever fail any test in first year?
Ooh. Yes, I did.
I can see the
Actually,
people on Insta are saying, yo, 89 for mom 1000. So people are like, wow. So you have to tell us,
yeah.
have you ever failed? How did you deal with it? What was it that you failed? How did you fail it?
I did fail. I did fail. So in the midst of the economics and the maths and the accounting that I was doing, there was a course called computer science, you know,
Oh,
comp
wow.
sci
Yes.
1015. I won't forget the code name because that was my very first failure. I will never forget 1015. So
Mm,
thing is, it's coding, right? I
yeah.
in high school, we didn't have a computer lab in my high school. So
Yeah.
the only exposure I got, like growing up with computers and all of that, was with my sister because she went to university first. So they bought her a laptop. So that's how I got exposed to using